We'll end it there. Good morning, Kalani. Thank you for being my guest today.
Can you hear me?
No, we can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
You're not muted, but your volume's not up.
Okay.
Getting a little better.
Better.
A little better.
I'm trying to turn it up.
That's good.
Is that good?
Yep.
All
Perfect.
right, perfect.
So as the crowd builds, I wanted to talk about, we're going to change things up for second quarter, and we're going to start a series called Real Life Real Estate. So I asked the managers to notate when a situation came up that's relevant, and let's see if we could get the agent to agree to go online with us to talk about the challenges they had. And we had some challenges. And I asked you and you said yes, so I appreciate that. So everybody knows Kalani is an agent in the Apollo Beach office. She joined us in late, like November 2018. So she's going on her 5th year in real estate right now. Last year, she opened 14 sides and just over $200,000 in commission. So we're not talking to somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, right? And I think that's important. So we're going to profile our guests, and these are real challenges. So I'm going to start the story off, if you don't mind, because I remember I was very proud of you because you were invited to audition for a listing on Beach Club Lane, and you competed with quite a few agents. And we were just getting into Moxie at the time, and some of those agents were our agents. And you showed up with a Moxie presentation, and I'm not saying Moxie did the job, but Moxie's job is to make you show up better.
Yeah.
But you showed up and made a presentation, and you were selected for that listing. And that was over $1 million. It was like $1.3 million-ish.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that guy is pretty popular in town, and he's got some other friends, and his friends decided to move as well. So you got that listing, and that was over $1 million as well, and it was in Cobia K. Mm-hmm. And now they've got another friend, mm-hmm, and they're getting ready to move as well. So you got invited to audition for that listing too. And you are auditioning for these listings. It's not a lay down. They're not just hiring you. You had to compete with other agents in different stories. Mm-hmm. So why don't you, well, first of all, I want to say also, you were a former school teacher, and you started off in real estate, and it's really been a very good thing for you because you're now 5 years in, and that's when it really starts to click, right? Because you get your confidence and all that stuff is really good.
Mm-hmm. And the repeat clients and the referrals really ramp up.
Yes. So. Yeah. So let's talk about this listing. You called me on it because I know that neighborhood pretty well. Mm-hmm. I've got 3 rules, and you and I talked about this, right? Our business model, our reputation, and our integrity. Mm-hmm. What did these sellers ask you to do?
Well, I first went and, previewed the property, and they let me know that they were also interviewing, a couple of different agents. And I said, as you should, and there was about a 2-week, easily a 2 to 3 week gap. But when I went, they called me back and they said, well, we're ready to list. We're ready to go. And we would like to work with you. Okay, sounds great. And then I go there and we sit down and we're going over again the listing agreement, and they had really just
the NAR lawsuit, didn't they?
Yes. Oh yeah. They first said, she goes, well, she goes, we've been following the articles, reading the headlines, and and this couple, they, I spent a lot of time listening to them, and you get a lot of answers when you listen. And so they used to be agents 25, 30 years ago back up in Ohio. So they know enough about the business, right? But not a current real estate, not just the current real estate market, but the current real estate happenings, right? And
real estate was done a lot differently 25 years ago.
Right, I would imagine. So, but they really just wanted to shred the listing agreement, and I had to just sit back and listen, knowing half of that is not going to fly. But I said, okay, put it all in there. And I said, you understand, I still have to take this to my broker and get final approval. I said, you can ask for this, but in no way am I agreeing that this is going to be what it is. But I had to play a little bit of good cop, bad cop, because everybody wants something, and they want to feel like they're not getting, like, we're not getting one over on them, right? They want to feel validated and heard. And also a lot of, that they built this home, their original owners, they're very, very proud of this home, as they should be. And it's their largest asset. And at that one time, they're probably their largest investment. And so they really want to maximize their earnings, right? Because they're downsizing, they're in retirement, that they need to hold on to every single piece of profit and earnings and equity that they have. And I understand that, and I respect that. And so a lot of it is fear-based, and we're dealing with very large numbers, for them. And,
And for
she
us.
goes, well, everything that you're talking about, you would do the exact same thing to sell an $800,000 home versus our home. And I said, well, yes and no, right? I mean, some things, yes, are exactly the same. Contracts, everything are exactly the same. Negotiations and numbers are very different. And, we're dealing with bigger numbers, because when you're looking at replacing a roof on a 2,000 square foot home, that's a shingle roof, very different from a tile roof on a 3,300 square foot home. Right. So, I said all those things are going to have to be discussed and negotiated, and they will come up. There's going to be issues,
Right.
because the property is not perfect. Right.
Let me clarify the two big things in the listing agreement they want to change.
Mm-hmm.
One was our listing agreement says that our commission is earned at the time of sale, not at closing. So they wanted to strike that.
Mm-hmm.
And that presented a problem, right? Because what
Mm-hmm.
does that really protect us against?
Them canceling, right, on a perfectly good buyer and contract.
Yeah.
And even though I would explain that, they interpreted it differently. And then she goes, but it's in the contract, but it's in the contract.
Yeah. So
I said,
what happens if the seller decides not to close? We have leverage because of our listing agreement to get paid a commission, because we brought a buyer who's ready, willing, and able to buy. So they wanted to take that right away. And I think the second thing was, the option payment.
Right. The option. And then also, they wanted a shorter listing agreement. She wanted a shorter period, and she wanted it to end on July 15th, because in her words, the whole real estate landscape is going to change drastically. So again, I'm hearing a lot of fear-based of, we're not sure what this new market's going to bring or be or look like. And a lot of it was, we don't trust you to help guide us through this. So I really worked extra hard with you helping me, get my backbone a little bit, adhere to our business model, our reputation, and our integrity. And I did use those words, and I explained things to them. But also I needed to work on building their trust in me, and showing my value, and kind of showing them, there's a reason why your friends also trusted me with their purchase and were happy enough to then also refer me out to you. That doesn't just happen accidentally, or there's purpose and intent behind that.
So let's get to the tough parts, because you had them sign a listing agreement and they wanted a 4% commission total, 2% to the list side,
and it was a fight to get to the 4.
and it was a fight to get to 4, right? And you did the right thing. You got them to sign the agreement, and then you presented it to me for approval, right? And then you and I discussed a lot of things, and I'm proud of doing that, because I think you got stronger as a result of it.
I did. Well, and what struck out to me, and what I want to share with other agents, is that I knew when I handed it to you, it was a shitty listing agreement. I knew. So I was okay with you saying, I'm not happy with this, right? But what I so value and appreciate is that at no time did I feel you did not also, of course, you're looking out for the company, you're looking out for the business, but I also felt you were also looking out for me as an agent. And I so appreciate that, because it was this doesn't align with our, our three, business model, integrity, and reputation. And then your very next sentence out of your mouth was, how can I help you? Like, how can I help you? You know, kind of bring the two together, right? What they're fear based of what they wanted and what our business model is, so that I can, bring the two sides together. And it was a true, it was a negotiation, back
Yeah.
and forth, with them. But it started out, I had to do a lot of just listening and helping them overcome that fear of what they were about to sign off on.
Right. Well, I think a lot of things happen in that. So I'm going to talk about specifically about the house now.
Mhm.
Um, it's a nice one-story house with a bonus room, which is a
Mhm.
very, very, very popular floor plan.
Mhm.
It's a cul-de-sac waterfront lot with a wide amount of waterfront and a really
150 feet.
150 feet of waterfront, great view.
Mhm.
But it was built in 2002,
2001.
2001. So the roof is now 23 years old.
Mhm.
I live in a house about that size, one story, and my roof was $86,000.
Mhm.
That's a lot,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
we also found out that the seawall and the dock is basically trashed.
Mhm.
And I had a dock a little older than that, and I had to put a new dock in. That's at least $40,000.
Mhm.
So 86 and 40. And
Yeah.
then what was the other thing? Oh, the seawall had some challenges, parts of it.
Parts of it, and that has been recently repaired. So that part of the seawall that actually touches water, has been recently repaired. There's the retaining wall that water doesn't get to because it's protected by the mangroves.
Perfect. I love you got now have a definition of a seawall and a retaining wall too, right?
Mhm.
All right, so we're walking into a house that is, and this is like $1.6 million house-ish in that range, right? So
It,
we're looking
it,
at
it would be 1,600,000 if we had, the roof and the dock, but
but
it,
what happened was you educated them. You didn't pull any punches. You told them this is going to be a problem. Your
mhm,
buyer's not going to be able to get insurance,
mhm.
and that's the problem.
Right.
So
And I
now they
didn't word it that it's a problem. I said we're gonna have our obstacles because during that negotiation period, they're gonna beat us up. They're gonna beat us up over the roof, which is a big punch. And she heard me and she agrees we're gonna get the roof quote, an estimate so that we have those numbers to kind of
yeah.
back up whatever. But she understands that part and they're not in denial. So that's good.
So real life real estate is the topic of our talk today, and you had these real life discussions with them, and these issues are going to come up, right?
Yeah.
And so they're prepared for it. That's the key. So they're not going to be surprised. And you
Mhm.
can honestly have a conversation with the cooperating broker saying, hey, we know these are issues. Where I
Mhm.
would bring it up first and foremost, that they're probably going to figure it out. The roof
Right.
is not leaking, but it is 22 years old, and the insurance is going to be a potential problem. So,
Mhm.
um, let's get to the tougher part because this is one where I labored a lot on. They wanted a 4% commission.
Mhm.
And, let's face it, the 4% of it's $30,000 each side. It's a
Mhm.
lot of money,
Right, right.
right? We don't want to lose it, and we don't want somebody else to get it. And we know there's other agents in the marketplace that would do it.
Mhm.
So you and I had some pretty hard discussions on that, and that's where
And
the
they are doing it. There are homes in that neighborhood listed at 2%.
right co-broker too.
Yeah.
So there's a 2%, a 2.5%, and a 3%, just to put the waterfront homes. So our policy is we charge 3% and we list a prevailing rate in the market.
Mhm.
Well, what's prevailing rate? We got one listing paying 2, one paying 3, and one paying 2.5. It's
Mhm.
a 2.5. But we had a really tough seller and a listing that we want, although it's not perfect, right? It's a listing that's got some bruises, but
Mhm.
it's a really good to have a one-story house that wide and that amount of waterfront. It's going to be nice. So
Yeah.
we're docking the roof. So they're expecting those things in negotiation, which will be good. So you have
Mhm.
that in your power.
Mhm.
All right. So you and I talked about the 4%. And what was my problem with the 4%?
Um, Offering just the 2% to
To
the
the
co-broke
co-broker
and
because
how
of our
that looks.
reputation.
And also 2%, to the for my earnings and for the company, so
It's a hit too.
it's on both sides.
That's right. And then I've got to go to my other agents and say,
Mhm.
how can you let Kalani do this and you won't let me do it?
Mhm.
So that becomes a rolling stone gathering speed going down a hill, a snowball gathering mass, right?
Mhm.
So we talked about it. I talked to Chris about it. Chris and I talked about it. And I think Chris and you ended up finalizing what happened there.
Mhm.
But
Well, and your words to me, you said, "I don't like it." You know, try and get them up, right?
right.
Get them up, and then so and then Chris said, if you get them up to 4.5%, 4.5, and then we'll split it evenly with the co-broke. So 2.25, 2.25. Um, and then you said absolutely no single agency representation. And I had gone over all of that with them at our first
Mhm.
listing preview. And so I went back to them and I said, I'm removing that. I was like, this is a new listing agreement with what you've asked. I said, single agency has been removed and Zillow Showcase is no longer an option. They did ask me, they said, are you still going to do your aerials and your drones? I said, absolutely. I said, because how the house is presented and marketed is still a reflection of me and what I bring to the table and, my professionalism. So I said, yes, that will be done,
Mhm.
but I'm not going to invest in the $1,000 upgrade
Mhm.
for a Zillow showcase when you've cut so much.
Yeah,
So
I'm proud of you for that too, right? Because that's what I want you to do, guys. I want you to use those tools as a way to justify more money. And if
right.
they pay more money, then we can offer a discount because we're offering less.
hmm hmm
Yes.
And we agreed, there's going to be one brokers open. It's on Caravan, and we're going to do a brokers open Tuesday, and then one open house, and
Mhm.
then private showings after that.
Good job.
Mhm.
So, but when you and I were talking, that was a problem. And I told you from the beginning, I'm not going to let you do it. But I really want you to fight for a little bit more.
Yeah.
And you went in and you fought for more, and you got a 4.5% listing. And let's be honest, a 2% listing commission on $1.5 million plus house, that's there's no insult in that.
I'll take it.
That money will go into your bank account just fine.
Mhm.
All right. What other challenges do we have on that one?
Yeah, it was really the commission because she wanted like a almost like a sliding scale with if it's 800 to 1,000, this commission 1,000 to 1.3 or 100 a million to 1.3 this much. And I said that's not our business model. That's not how we operate it. So, but yeah, I understand, sellers, they want to put as much and keep as much money of the equity in their pocket, as possible. But, and hey, again, it's just more of me showing my value, our value as a company and what we bring to the table. I sent her a preview of the photos and the aerials for her approval, because I didn't want to have to bring the photographer back out there, and they were ecstatic over the photos. She said that she goes, that was a great hire for your photographer. She nailed it, all the angles, so they're very happy. So that was a win.
Did you get
And
Jessica
then
certified for Zillow yet? Or is she
yeah,
already?
she's already certified. Yep. I asked her to get certified for Zillow Showcase, and then I was like, oh, by the way, we're not using it for this one. But that was that's what it is. So and then when yesterday I sent her the MLS description to preview to make sure I didn't misrepresent or miss any major feature of the home. It's kind of like a courtesy thing. And she wrote back and she goes, OMG, we love it. She was Larry, her husband. She goes, he said add $100,000 to the listing just based on the description. So they were happy. And so again, it's showing the value and I'm okay proving my worth for people and getting their buy-in. I think it's much easier when you do that up front than so when I do have to bring them something that they don't like.
Right.
Hopefully it's smooth that road.
Well, I
Um,
want other agents to also know that, as a company, we're strong enough to bend, right?
mhm,
We're just not going to bend over real easy. We're going to fight for it. And
right.
defending the business model, the reputation, and the integrity is important. And you
Mhm,
did that. And we held our own and we kept our standards and it was a very nice one.
mhm, mhm. Yeah. Someone asked on here in the chat if I was able to find them a place to live or negotiate that. They've already purchased their next home, and they're in the process of gutting it and renovating it. It's going to be gorgeous. But they're downsizing and off water, and so they've already made that purchase, and which is fine too. Like it's,
How did we
um,
overcome the 3-month listing term?
I said it's going to be a 6-month listing. And then with your permission, I said after 4 months, so after that July date or whatever, I said you'll be able to cancel without penalty. And I explained, I said we're not in the business of taking people's $2,000 cancellation. That's not what's kept us in business. That's not how we, how we earn our commissions. And so,
Yeah. So you took a
you know,
6-month listing, you gave them the right to cancel early,
right,
right? Which
right,
which gives you the right. If you're going to do a good job, you're not worried about them trying to fire you.
no,
But this gives them the confidence that if something were wrong or you pulled a fast one on them, they could get out early.
right, right. And
So
it's just
that's
that
another
kind of
negotiation point.
that give and take. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So very
Yeah,
cool.
that's exactly it. Everybody wants something for nothing. They buyers want it and sellers want it, right?
The
So
biggest challenge I see going after the July timeframe is a lot of agents are not going to stand up for value. And they're going to say, I'll take you for a flat fee for $1,000 and show you homes, because they're not going to stand up for the value. So
mhm.
we are going to continue to push on selling value, selling value, selling value, because our business model, we don't want it to change. If we can't do that, we're going to have to change.
Well, and I see too, it's going to drive more and more buyers to go straight to the listing agent, which I've seen already. I mean, the majority of my homes have been double-sided for people, especially within the past 6 months, because people come directly to the listing agent. They don't want to sign anything with a buyer's agent, and they'll have that conversation. They'll say, "Oh, well, since I'm coming to you directly, that's saving the seller on that commission." And I said, "No, you don't understand how that works. The seller has already agreed for the commission. This is what it is." And I was like, "So no, it doesn't work that way."
Well, remember, when a buyer comes to you as a listing agent, you have to put them under buyer broker agreement too.
Well, yes, now, but
Right.
not before.
Right. Well, not yet, not till July.
Right.
So I was
Mm-hmm.
going to tell you, you mentioned the Zillow token. My daughter Jessica, whose birthday was Saturday.
Oh,
I talked to her yesterday or Saturday. No, Saturday. Oh, she said, oh, and I sold a house today. I said, you did on your birthday? That's fantastic. She goes, yep, it hit the market yesterday. I put a Zillow token on it and it went live. And she had a showing at 4 and a showing at 7, both from Zillow Premier Agents. So what Zillow did is they marketed her home. Zillow knew buyers were shopping for a house in that area, in that price range. They targeted an email of this house with all its features to these buyers, and the buyers clicked on it and chose to picked a, what is it, a set of showing,
tour, showing
set of
tour.
showing tour, and they showed it. They looked at it. They bought it full price one day on the market.
That's awesome.
Isn't that crazy? We've got some listings that we're going in 6 months now, and they're not selling, and this one sells in one. And I'm not saying the token did that, but I'm just saying it's pretty interesting that the day it goes live with the token tour.
Right. So
Oh,
and
that
it's that
wasn't the showcase.
exposure,
Yeah.
and that's a. I mean, she walked into an absolutely beautiful setup of a story now to share at her next listing appointment. You
Yeah.
know,
It's a yes, you could have gotten the lead if it was a showcase, but I still think you had turned it in to be showcased, but Zillow was going to market it for you anyway. I don't know how it really happened. I'll find out, but it's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, so I just want agents that we are strong enough to bend, but we want you to fight and stand up for yourself. And you learned a lot by fighting and standing up for yourself. So I wanted to showcase you as a great example.
I did. I did. Because when as agents, when we are fortunate enough to get these listing appointments, they're very important, and we don't want to lose the listing. You're like every lead is a good lead until it's not. Every listing is a good listing, right? And every preview appointment, and I wasn't sure what how far I could slide that scale or toe that line with them, and um and also I didn't want you know, you to come back and say, "Oh, Kalani, you lost that listing, or you could have had it," because that would have been the worst thing, right? I really would have been kicking myself if you said, "Okay, you if you had done this, you could have gotten it," or whatnot. So, it was a big learning experience for me as well. So
And at the end of this, you sent me a text that said, I really need more negotiation training, right? So that's what we're going to learn. We're going to find good examples of agents who stood up for their value and won. And we'll probably find some who stood their value and didn't win and made a decision to pass on something,
right,
right? And we're going to see that. We're going to see more commission. You're getting lots of good jobs on the text right now.
Oh.
Cool. Well, I think we told the story we're going to tell. There's no need to make everybody stick around for another 5 minutes unless you got something else you want to share. But I want to say thank you. I'm proud of your professionalism, and I really hope that listing sells. And I hope these sellers take your advice, because I'm very secure that somebody'd be very interested in the house because there's location and the layout.
Yeah.
So somebody's to be interested in it, but they're going to make an offer because it's got some bruises.
Yep. And that's what it is. Yeah, there's a lot of desirable features. So, shameless plug. I do hope everyone can come out tomorrow to Caravan. And then we're going to do a broker's open right afterwards. So 11 to 1. I'm partnering with my like one of my preferred lenders. So we're going to have mimosas and sandwiches and snacks. And so we want people to stay and linger and enjoy the space. So come on down to Andalusia and join us.
Nice going, Kalani. Good job.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing today. I think it was very cool. And agents, send me a note or something if you like. I'm seeing lots of chats you like this format, because I'll tell you, Monday was really hard to get you guys to talk. So you made that message pretty clear. The mastermind was not working to what it was intended for. So managers, I'll see you at 11 to start thinking about concepts like this when you're helping agents get over stuff. Yippee, you got it. Perfect. Good. Well, happy Monday, and I will see you tomorrow.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.